Yep, I'm good.
Smitty, good?
Yep.
Good to see
Yeah, how's it
you.
going today? I don't want to have you.
We're meeting tonight, so. How you doing? We're sitting
Wherever you want.
on the table. Well, yeah, well, it's something more in the last 2 weeks than I had in
I
a
know.
couple of years.
So nice.
They don't have anything.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, I can bring it up.
I'm good. Okay. Here's the
Oh, I'm
postcard.
sorry.
If you need one.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. I think we are, North Paxton Township, you have 30 minutes for your presentation. And at 20 minutes, we're going to hard stop in case we have any questions, if you do that. If you don't mind, if you introduce yourself and have a good time, you can introduce yourself again and tell us about your project.
Absolutely. So my name is Matt Jerzlowski. I'm the Director of Public Works for Lower Paxton Township. Thanks for having me today. Hopefully I can answer any of your questions regarding the project. Obviously, you guys know Lauren Zumbrin from HRG. She's here to back me up in the event. The project goes back a little bit further than my tenure, so
Okay.
she's got some of the history on it, some of the details. Essentially, what we're aiming to do is replace our fuel center, which was originally built in 1989. The tanks, once they go underground, they have about a 20 to 25 year lifespan. We noticed that we started to have issues with the underground tanks back in 2020. We had severe water intrusion into the diesel tank. Essentially, the concrete above the tank started to settle, and that caused some cooling, and it caused the tanks to start to fill up with water. Obviously, a big concern when you're fueling some $1 million equipment. The result was they had to pump the tank out, make some repairs, so empty that tank anymore. That was sort of the trigger for the township to say, okay, we really need to start making an assessment as to whether or not we can get this fuel center replaced. Obviously, township wide, it's more than just the public works department that uses this fuel center. It's our 3 fire companies, it's EMS, it's our senior van, it's the township staff, it's the police department. So, you know, to the tune of hundreds of thousands of gallons per year, whether gasoline or diesel, for this fuel center. The only real alternative for the township outside of replacing the fuel center is using a commercial facility, which has its own issues when you pull the fire truck through, pulling police vehicles through, things like that. So we would like to keep it open, but we just fear that, you know, if we don't replace it next year, it's going to cause problems. Been watching the maintenance on the fuel center. Every year the maintenance goes up. 2025, we've had to replace the diesel filters 3 times because they are getting water in them, and we can't really determine how because the tanks don't have water in them, but it's just like it's condensating somehow. So obviously once those fuel filters get clogged, call in the service provider, they swap them, and then our trucks can fuel up, and it causes gaps in coverage and delays across the township. We were awarded the local share grant back in 2022, 2023. That provided $90,000 for us to get the project up and running. We've obviously been using that for engineering. We've been using that to keep the project alive thus far. The project has been planned. It was sent out for bid. One of the hangups thus far was that the estimated project cost was significantly less than what came back in the bids. It was almost double what came back in the lowest bidder. So the township had to kind of take a knee for a couple of years to figure out, set aside some additional funding or to go after an additional grant to ease the pain a little bit. So that brings us here. We're after $175,000 to hopefully aid with some of the finance considerations for this project.
Anything to add, Lauren?
No, I would just say, that I think it kind of caught us by surprise that when we were initially looking at how much we thought the anticipated cost would be, the contractor that had engaged to provide an estimate ended up not bidding on the project. So when we got the bids back and they were twice as high, it was very much oh boy, what do we do now? How do we advance? Right.
Wow.
So, the township still has a considerable amount into this project and is really just looking to close the gap. Just recognizing that it impacts a lot of township services and partners, really.
What is the maintenance, how much does it cost to do a filter? When they have to come in and replace the filter, just out of curiosity.
So a new filter is, my guess would be $300 to $400 because you're doing the service call plus the filter itself. Our maintenance costs between the fueling system and filter replacements, and we had a problem with the valve earlier this year. Is about $11,000 this year, which is already double, if not more, than what it was the previous year.
Okay.
So we're seeing those issues coming through.
See, the tanks were put in '89. Did I have that correct? Ellen?
And you said that average life of the tanks is 20 years?
20 to 25 years is kind of what I'm seeing as the recommendation. Obviously, the tanks that are in there now probably have a manufacturer specification that just wasn't able to get specific combination of fiberglass and metal. So
All the vehicles you talked about that the facility there is this one the only one for the township?
correct.
It's pretty busy then.
It's a busy place. 20, yeah, it's 24/7 operations. Usually as Public Works is leaving for the day, we got the night shift for PD and fire coming in to fuel up. One of the benefits is that it's tied to the, facility's backup generator as well. So if we truly have a severe power outage or some incident, we can still fuel the emergency vehicles service.
I think it's important to know too, just, with Lower Paxton being, you're the largest municipality in Dauphin County now, so the amount of services provided, it is really a 24/7 operation to stay on top of all that.
And the cost savings are, pretty incredible. It's about one third less expensive to fuel up at the fuel center. So we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars per year savings just by buying fuel and fuel. Plus, it's one fuel provider. It's not like fueling up at mom and pop gas station where you don't know who put the fuel in there or if it's going to damage your equipment. A reputable distribution network. But, if you do have issues, you can really tie down with the root cause.
Not to wish any bad luck on you or anything, but what would happen if there was a fuel leak underground and the ground got contaminated?
So it would be a significant impact. Obviously, we'd have to shut down the center. We'd have to do a discovery process to open things up and find the source of the leak, drain the tanks, have EPA come in and
Yes,
assess the damage.
yeah,
And they kind of go by the gallon. So, if you leak out X amount of thousands of gallons, it's going to cost you X amount of fees and obviously clean up.
dig deeper, dig wider.
The new facility will have above ground tanks, which we burn through enough fuel. So there's kind of a stigma about above ground tanks that condensate and contaminates the fuel, which is true if you're not using the fuel at the rate that we're using it. So this new facility will be above ground, easier to service in the long run, obviously easier to identify if you do have some type of leak within the system. So I think it'll be an improvement both environmentally and financially in the future.
And you've been working recently to make some other improvements to that property too, not directly related to contamination, but making some improvements to the basin for stormwater, considering the runoff on site from other uses. So,
We just had a joint project with the sewer department to put a big drainage basin on site, which is obviously does a lot for the property value and also ensures that any contaminants that you run off are captured.
Captured, yeah. Michael? No, anything else?
I'm good.
That's all I have. Dan?
Guys, explored the state's underground storage tank indemnification. Ground or replacement. I'm not saying in lieu of this request, but I know they have a silo of money that the gas tax provides for, typically for old gas stations in the 70s and 80s when they get replaced that do the cleanup. So it might be something to look at. It's called USTIF, Underground Storage Tank Indemnification Fund. And that's through the state, but it is a kind of a lockbox of money. I'm not sure if you qualified, built in 1989, but as I scanned it, it had a ton of replacement, leaching of gas or corrosion type.
Yeah, that's great information. I really don't know if they've explored that before, but I'm meeting with my predecessor Thursday, so I'll run that past and see if he's looking into it or if he sort of stoppages.
what agency is that through? Do you know?
Pardon?
What agency is that through?
It goes through the Department of Transportation, and then it also goes through the Department of Insurance, and then it also goes through, because it's contamination, DEP. So I'd start with PennDOT.
Yeah, thank you.
Storage tank indemnification fund. Sounds like that is what you're seeking anyways.
It's pretty, so, what you're looking for. Appreciate the presentation.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks,
Thank you
everybody.
very much.
Have a good Christmas.
All right, you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not to suspect different progress.
I just.
Yep.
I don't know. Okay.
See, I don't have next one.
Just make recommendations.
Subsequent attack.
Okay. We might.
Hello again, chiefs. We're gonna start with the Susquehanna Township. Okay?
Yes, sir.
The progress. We have 30 minutes, 15 and 15, whatever your project is. We'll stop at 10 minutes for a hard stop if it goes that far. And so we can ask some questions if, excuse me, if we have them. So if you don't mind just introducing yourselves and tell us what your project is. Chief?
George Dries, Fire Chief, Susquehanna Township.
Hi, I'm Teresa Everly. I'm the township manager.
Rob Martin, Chief of Police, Director of Public Safety.
Thank you very much. Okay, Chief?
First off, ladies and gentlemen of the panel, the submitted Susquehanna Township respectfully requests our grant submission for monies toward the purchase of the new fire engine. The estimated cost of this engine is $1.1 million. This engine will replace two engines in the fleet, our 2007 and our 2008 year engines. Delivery time for new apparatus is 3 to 4 years from the time of order and placement. If we order the new engine in 2026, this will bring our estimated delivery time of 20 to 2029 at the earliest, making the outgoing apparatus 21 and 20 years old respectively. We have a full-time emergency vehicle technician who does an excellent job of sustaining our apparatus, but we are also witnessing additional wear and tear parts becoming more frequent and harder to acquire. Engine 37-1, which is our 2008 engine, was out of service for 5 months for an auxiliary transmission cooler. Just a side note on that, we even searched salvage yards to get it. We did buy one from the salvage yard and it didn't match up, so they let us return it. The original price was $3,500 and it cost us $8,000. So we're back in service with that. Talk about the budget at all. Yeah. Okay. So we have the fire service budget. We have a fire tax. We've been in a structural deficit for the last 3 years. This year, we were not in a structural deficit because we raised the fire tax last year, and then this year in 2026, we're also raising the tax. So overall, we've gone up 0.5 millage over the last 3 years. So, over the last 3 years to help with this project. The three pillars that we in the fire service have problems with is one, apparatus and the delivery times for those apparatus is one. Manpower is second. And lastly, a new fire station for the south end of the station, south end of the township Purvis Fire Company. That said, they all take money, they all take resources, and ultimately with a 3-year delivery time, minimum 3-year delivery time, we decided to go with new apparatus. We need fire engines no matter if we don't have a fire station, we need fire engines, whether we have volunteers or part-timers or career people. So that's where we're at there. To answer some of the board's questions that were submitted, is it correct that the fire engine that the township proposes to purchase would be both for Progress and Rescue Fire Companies? That is correct. The engine will fill the most appropriate need of the township. Township owns the apparatus, will place it wherever it's needed. Initially, it was intended to go to rescue station and replace those two engines there, but it will fill the gap as needed. We currently move the apparatus around from station to station, depending upon what's in service or what's broke, or if we have a driver that isn't qualified to drive that. Not for that reason often, but we do at times. Discuss other financing options the township has explored and the current status of any options the township's pursuing. We've applied for a state LSA grant for $1 million that will not be announced until October 26th. Township will also be applying for a FEMA AFG grant in 2026, but it is a low priority on the federal scale. And as some of the panel knows, the federal system is a little bit of flux with FEMA and the grants as they go. I sit on the panels to do the grant reviews for the federal government. So I look at those applications the same way you do. And there is absolutely zero direction over the last 8 months coming from the people that we work with, which is sad. Project description discusses purchasing one engine, but project anticipates ordering a second. Susquehanna Township is in need of 2 engines with delivery times of 3 years plus. Any grant monies received will assist in shifting funds, additional funding towards a second engine. Progresses. So there's 2 at Rescue Fire Company that are going to be replaced by 1 engine, first engine. If Progress's engine that they're running in, keep in mind, Susquehanna Township owns all this property, these assets. If Progress's engine has a problem and fails, and the better of the 2 from Rescue, we will keep that. So we're going to keep the best one of the 3, and then once we have enough money, order the second one. Has Township applied for any other grants? Reward that or reference that. Letters of support. Letters of support, some of them are dated 2023. Past dated letters were included to show years of support from our regional partners. Current municipal practice is that those requests are denied since we are all competing for the same dollars. So what I did was my decision to place the old letters in there, as well as the new ones from Perry and Cumberland County can still support, send supporting letters. Basically, if Susquehanna, well, I personally would love to support everybody's. Powers that be from Susquehanna will say we're competing against the same. Maybe we shouldn't go ahead and support theirs. We're all in the same business as far as protecting lives and property. So that's why it just shows there was consistency. We all work together. Sustaining the volunteer fire services, we knew it has changed significantly. Like other emergency services, Susquehanna Township is grappling with the need for new fire apparatus, new station, new manpower, all dependent on each aspect. We feel that we are responsibly fiscally in our actions and funding methodologies for all 3 of these fire service needs. We do have a contract for the 1 engine. The second engine would be an absolute duplicate. We do have a contract for the 1, as well as if we order the second one, we have opportunities to either prepay for the chassis or prepay for the whole unit, or let the whole thing ride until 90 days before delivery. And we also have a letter of commitment that if we order 2 of them at the same time, that the sales company, if we back out of the second one within 14 months, they will continue to keep it on their being built, because they're going to be able to sell it, because that next customer won't have to wait 3 years, and that's one of the things that we worked out with them, in case I don't foresee that happening, but it's an avenue that I can get our bosses to say, look, we're not taking that big chance if we do go ahead and order. So, miss anything, finance wise, or?
Well, I can add a little bit about
Okay,
KMS. The township was fortunate to hire a consultant, KMS, to take a look at our operations. And part of that, they did look at our fire operation. As George mentioned, we have a fire tax and that generates about $1.7 million. But we're looking at our future. As George mentioned, we have potential opportunities for hiring full or part-time fire on the horizon. We also have apparatus. We have facility needs. And so when KMS put all of that together to see what our future would look like, when you go forward to 2035, if everything stays as we have it right now, hiring just a limited number of fires, trying to continue with our apparatus schedule, we're looking at a deficit of over $5 million by the time we get to 2035. So we're all trying to do as much as we can to help keep the fire service sustainable with equipment and firefighters. So we recognize the significance and we're trying to do everything we can to help support our company. But that was sort of a really, I think, a kind of wake up call for all of us, seeing what in 10 years, what our gap's going to be. So,
It's a wake up call for everybody.
yeah.
Yes. I would assume, I'm sorry, Chief.
It says here, Director Martin tying it all up, so I'm ready to. Sorry, I wrote the script.
Do you have something?
I would just, I'm just gonna speak from the heart here. I'm a career law enforcement officer, and my only fire training is my time in the Navy. And over the past years that I've been the Director of Public Safety, I'm in awe of the volunteer fire service. I'm in absolute awe. And those of us in the public safety realm, police, fire, and EMS know this. The women and men in public safety are mission-oriented people. And every mission begins and ends with people. And what we're seeing with the pace of change from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean as it relates to the fire service is a phenomenal pace of change where we're losing these volunteers and we've got to inject money, and rightfully so, to sustain our operations. And so that is as Manager Everly has noted, we are funding more through stipend projects, and we know that career is coming in some manner. It's unavoidable. So we seek this money for the equipment so that we can put our money where it really counts, and that's the people. And my heart aches every week when I'm going to my boss, about money, because she's trying to balance everything about our government, which is not easy. She's got a tough job, and I appreciate her being at the table with us today. But at the end of the day, it's about people. And this money allows us on another end to take care of our people.
Very good. Well, your township has a good reputation in your fire protection, and that's a compliment to you and all your chiefs from both stations and your firefighters have a real good reputation. I would assume the sale of the old engines will go toward that, just like we do, right?
Correct.
You're not going to get anything for them, like we used to. But
Take
that
every
would,
money.
that would roll right into the sale. Okay. Now,
I was just gonna ask if you had any idea what the other one, the sale would bring you.
No.
pennies on the dollar anymore.
Yeah, and we can't do it for 3 years, so it's
Right.
very speculative.
Yeah. But somebody getting that piece of apparatus will be getting a good piece of apparatus.
Right.
It typically goes down to north, down south, or out to the Midwest.
South America.
Yeah, yeah. There's and 25 years ago, or used piece of fire out, regardless of how well it's kept and maintained. Right? Smitty?
Nope.
No, very straightforward. Nice presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah, thanks, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Likewise.
Yes, sir.
I rolled it back.
One second, Chief. So the program started and yeah, good time. And you get 15 minutes. That'll be short. If you don't mind introducing yourselves and tell us what your project is, Chief.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Lawrence. I'm the fire chief of the Progress Fire Company. And
My name's Jordan Linhart. I'm the deputy chief, and I'm in charge of writing the grant for the fire.
Very good.
which he does very good at. Thank you for taking your time this afternoon to listen to our project and our request for our grant funding from the local gaming share grant. The scope of our project is to repair and replace the numerous HVAC units that are currently on Station 32. The estimated cost that we have is $96,356, we're coming today to request the maximum amount of grant funding we're allowed to request of $75,000. Our HVAC of our station fails on the regular. We spent 6 to 8 weeks over the summer with no air conditioning in the lounge, kitchen area. We had fans running, doors open, trying to pull air from upstairs, downstairs. It was bad. We actually waited for parts from California to replace our HVAC, different parts of our HVAC just to get it running. Just for 2 weeks later, it broke again. So it's been a never-ending cycle of repair, replacement, and being told like this stuff is on its last leg. In 2023, the township completed a fire study through a consulting firm. They came out and in part of their study of the facilities, even in 2023, they said that the units were not operating to the full capacity and they were at the end of life, end of service life. Since we submitted this application, the township completed a feasibility study, which on October 31st, 2025, we got a final report from the engineer firms who they had mechanical, structural, electrical engineers all come out and do a full feasibility study of our station as part of our station improvement project. And in that study, they took pictures to the point they couldn't even tell the age of some of the units because the dates were worn off, model numbers couldn't be found. And every unit on the station they documented with pictures. And in that study, they said that they have reached their useful life, and over the next 5 years, they're estimating at least $150,000 worth of repairs just to keep their current units running if we don't replace them. Part of that study was obviously, it's no secret, the township's looking into a fire station project for Progress. There's 3 options on the table. Option 1 and 2 keep us in the current fire station. Option 1 does no addition for us. Option 2 does an addition using the existing fire station. Option 3, which is the most expensive, is a brand new station. So either way, if we entertain option 1 and 2, we will be staying there, and these HVAC units will help with that construction project. And even if tomorrow they say we're picking whatever option we pick, we're looking at 5 years from now till when the new station will be completed. So we got to keep heating and cooling for the next 5 years at least, minimum. How does this project fall into the grant criteria? This project is meant to help sustain the volunteer fire service. Obviously, it's hard to recruit and retain if guys are coming to the station to cook dinner and volunteer time and they're sweating. If there's no humidity control through the HVAC, we get mold. We've had mold remediation done at our station multiple times due to the HVAC not being able to keep up. We had a whole wall fall down because it was full of moisture and water that we had to put our own funding into. So this project looks to sustain and enhance the volunteer fire service for the Progress Fire Company, not only for Susquehanna Township, but through our automatic aid responses, which include up into Grantville in the East Hanover Township area where the gaming facility is located. Chief Saul has this listed on numerous box areas as first and second alarm units. I think I pulled the numbers the other day. I think 5 times in 2025 we responded to the East Hanover Township for working fires. Again, this project is there to assist in the ability to recruit and retain our volunteers. And as you just heard, those numbers are dying, but we're trying hard to keep the lifeline going with our living program to help keep putting fire trucks on the street in a timely manner. So I try to keep it short and sweet. Any questions? Got anything?
How many live in, yeah, chief?
We can't keep living right now. The career fire service is so fast. And it took you 2 years to get hired?
No, 2014.
So it took him 3 years to get hired. We used to average 4 to 5 years that we would keep it living. We have kids that are graduating high school within 1 year. We have 3 high school kids that haven't even reached their 1 year out of high school. They're already in career academies, and some of them already graduated from career academies in Maryland and Virginia. So
3 full-time.
3 full-time, and luckily we have 2 or 3 career guys that are trying to save money, so they come back and they live there, but they work shift work, so they're in and out all the time. So it's hard with the number of career departments hiring everywhere, but we're trying. And if they're going to sweat when they sleep, they don't want to sleep there.
Smitty?
Yeah.
Michael?
my device died, so I'm trying to find the budget. So if awarded the 75,000, will that cover?
If awarded the 75,000, we have the means through savings accounts within the progress fire company to hopefully cover the difference.
So what's the total cost?
95,000 or 96,356 was a quote we got. Now, since that quote was done, there's been continual breakdown. So there's a couple components that have already been replaced. So that number may shrink a little to lessen that gap, or that number could go through the roof if one of the units completely break between now and the grant awarding time. So we're kind of like putting a different Band-Aid on each week.
Ellen,
No.
let's lay it.
Just clarification on the township's top priority, this or the apparatus.
We were under the understanding that we are 1A.
I'll step in. Yeah, apparatus is the program.
Of all the co-applications.
Yes,
Yeah, 1A of the co-application.
Thank you.
and rescue.
Thank you.
Anything else? Chief, next presentation.
Thank you.
Good information. Thanks. Thanks for the information.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Good.
Sorry. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
And ladies.
Thank you, Chief.
I think you can stay. She said I can stay here and have some sleep.
Yeah.
Alex, thank you.
So we'll just put on the record that Mr. Everson is employed by Slaughter Township. And so he is going to exit the public hearing while we present and I'll just in there.
Good idea.
He might be here shortly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Say the taxpayers are gonna find out where the volunteer fire department saved them.
Huh.
For many, many years.
Yeah.
It's coming. All we're doing is putting a Band-Aid on it. We're almost at the point of a tourniquet.
I had to call the, since I live in East Hanover, I had to call the East Hanover Fire Department because my wife and I thought we smelled gas,
Right?
okay, and so the East Hanover Fire Department, they came out,
No.
they had all these gadgets that could look, you know,
Yeah.
behind the walls.
Yeah.
Seeing if there was anything. And then they said, was it Sutara or Susquehanna? They said, one of the fire companies here has a guy with a special nose. He didn't smell gas from like a mile away. The guy wasn't working in the ship.
Water attack.
He came out and
Hey, good afternoon. How are you?
I said,
Good to see you. And welcome.
Thank you.
Sarah Township has 30 minutes for presenting their project. We will, if it takes more than 20, we'll stop you at 20.
Okay.
Or stop you so you can ask some questions. So if you don't mind introducing yourself and go ahead and present your project. Set that arrow. And there's a laser on it also.
Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm John Cherry with Bellwood Engineering on behalf of Swanterra Township, and I'm going to be presenting the splash pad project as part of Bishop Park Phase 2. So this is we're looking at what we're going to be talking about today is one kind of smallish component of an overall multi-phase project for Bishop Park. So Bishop Park is a $6 million total transformation, complete new park that's being installed along Highland Street off of Eisenhower Boulevard in Swatara Township. The township is breaking this project into 2 phases. Phase 1 is currently underway. It's pretty much the site grading. There are some amenities that are going in as part of this, or a portion of which through Dauphin County Gaming Grants previously, that is a playground equipment as well as pickleball courts. So what we're looking at here is phase 2 that we're going to be that splash pad is going to be part of. Phase 1 is going to be scheduled to be complete in June of 2026, and we're looking to begin construction of phase 2 in September of 2026, with completion in June of 2027. So this LSA grant that we're asking for here is a $500,000 grant to construct the splash pad with utilities as well as engineering and design costs. So why does the splash pad, what's the importance of the splash pad? So this splash pad is intended to be a free, universally accessible, and family-friendly attraction that expands recreation opportunities for residents while strengthening the regional park system. So right now, there are some sort of water features of many other parks. That's a bigger thing. But this is a full water feature type of activity. And I think the first slide, it kind of, you can barely see, but my apologies, but this is a full amenity feature with a changing room that residents and children can come and access.
Don't mean to interrupt you, but just for me to get my bearings, where is the actual location? You said off of Eisenhower Boulevard.
Correct. Yeah. So in Swatara Township, as you're heading down off of the 283 exit, for Target and everything is at, you're getting on to Eisenhower Boulevard. And it's further on down, kind of towards Dauphin Highlands Golf Course.
Okay.
And it's going to be right off of there. It's I apologize for not doing the slide, but it's the township is really revamping that corridor of Highland Street that leads from Steelton the whole way, kind of connecting up to Eisenhower Boulevard.
I guess.
Yeah.
Is there an existing park along there?
No, so further on down, there's a small kind of pocket park, Overland Park.
Okay.
That township is also renovating, scheduled to renovate next year.
Okay.
But this is kind of, it kind of connects, I can give you a visual lay of the land, is the kinds of, we're talking about the whole Highland Street corridor. So the township is undertaking in the end of second half of 2026, a multi-purpose trail that connects the sidewalk stops right before Swatara Middle School. So they're going to be constructing sidewalks the whole way from that section, the whole way to kind of connect into Bishop Park. So it's going to be all accessible, and then it kind of connects into this larger Bishop Park project that will ultimately have existing connect to other trail networks.
Thank you.
So the township is really working on and updating and expanding on their pedestrian-friendly amenities, including parks and the like, because they understand that there's not a good network previously, currently, but they want to be able to have a lot of amenities for their citizens.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Certainly.
I appreciate that. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. It kind of helps to give this is a large project, multi-phase project. It's been a long time coming, but where the township is really committed to get this entire project constructed by 2027. So again, the Swatara Township, the phase 1, I'm talking about it holistically as to give you a full visual of what's going on here. Phase 1 again is site prep, earthworks movements, that's currently underway. That started in September of this year. The playground equipment was previously funded by the gaming grant is being installed in spring of 2026, as well as the pickleball courts will be within that same kind of timeframe. Again, it's going to be June of 2026 when phase 1 is complete. The township is moving into finalizing design of phase 2. They're going to have begin that conversation in this winter with the anticipated construction again of phase 2 in 2027 or 2026. My apologies. So again, this splash pad, as we talk, is that it is a really in-depth, large project, and we can talk about the budget here later. It's estimated to be a $1 million splash pad with concession stand, change facility, and the like for not just its residents, but also part of a larger regional park amenity. There are, again, smaller kind of splash pad sprinklers that go off, but this is really in-depth play structure for residents and for specifically children to be able to enjoy. It really does that whole kind of corridor down there. It really benefits as being kind of a low to moderate income population that's down there. Again, with connecting it with this trail network that the sidewalks that the township is constructing next year, it really kind of will tie in and give the residents a good walkable path to come enjoy not only the splash pad but the entire park. So this project's and again it's kind of an example of what the splash pad. This is a quote that the township did receive. This leverages and addresses a lot of the criteria outlined in the local share account program. Public interest activities. It is accessible, very flat. There's it services all abilities in that regards. It's part of the entire Bishop Park. It is going to be a very large spot to gather, and it will serve again. Because of all the amenities it has, there are residents that will be able to come and enjoy every piece of what Bishop Park has to offer. The human services aspect, because it's social wellness, social interaction. Again, it's going to be a draw because of the type of splash pad that the township wants to install. That you kind of have to go to almost Hershey Park to be able to enjoy something that is going to be like this in the township. As well as there's public need for it because, again, the type of splash pad that we're installing, it's not something that's like this around without having users pay for it. That will be a big draw. You don't see it really anywhere in the region. It's just going to be a draw to it. As I talked kind of towards the beginning of the presentation, there is a great deal of public support for this project specifically, as well as the entire Bishop Park, because of the draw of being able to connect to the regional trail networks. The Greenbelt is going to be part of a long-term kind of plan vision that the township has. It will be able to connect into the Greenbelt to be able to draw the users. There's a portion of the Greenbelt that kind of cuts through the mall, the Harrisburg Mall already, but to be able to tie into that network will be all additional crowd from the greater region. As I mentioned also earlier, is that we do have preliminary budgets, preliminary designs, and we've begun to kind of scope out what type of design and facility that the township is looking for. Again, this is kind of a larger ask of the local share program, but because of the nature of what this the structure is, and being a big draw for residents, we feel that it kind of warrants this kind of ask because it will it will seek to just, it will just seek to, pull residents in.
When you talk about, I don't know whether you have time for this, but something pretty to think about.
Sure.
Is the, when I think of the water parks.
Yeah.
I think of, ages, small kids up to age 18, and then, 18 to 30, and then you got your over 50. So that's one thing. I'm sure you consider just the ages, but then the township itself, in terms of a projection of the amount of growth you're going to have population wise over the next maybe 10 years. Because like in all townships, a good portion of the population is aging.
Sure.
And you have to have something to pull in some younger population. And this may be one of the ways to do it.
No, that's a very fair point. And, the Swat is kind of one of the more growing population in Dauphin County. And also we're situated at along Eisenhower, right off of Eisenhower Boulevard. There's a large hotel network that's right there as well. So if residents that come down to go to Bass Pro and the future Swat Exchange, the former mall, but also Hershey Park, the amenities that Hershey area provides, it gives the families that either come to visit another thing that they can do, and that's easily accessible by car commute. But also it just it again is that draw. As we talk about Swatera really wanting to invest in their park systems, it gives families and children really a good place to be able to play.
It's a draw.
And
It's a
connect.
draw
Yeah.
for the community.
Yeah, the long term, again, as I mentioned previously, the long term kind of vision that the Board of Commissioners has is to be able to extend their sidewalks, their paths, their bike paths, and all of that to be able to connect. They already serve the Greenbelt, but also being able to connect to the wider network and extend out to Hershey and that trail network that's out there as well. So they really want to make Swatera Township a family-friendly place to be able to walk, be able to bike, and with their upgrades that they're making to the parks over the next 2 years, that's extended. That's been a big push with the commissioners for the past 2 years now, and they're really making those investments.
Can I just ask, I'm sorry for interrupting,
No,
but,
we're in our
this is
20 minute mark anyhow.
okay,
We're good.
this is you keep referring to residents
Sure.
utilizing the park, but you're talking about this vast network. So will this be available to residents and non-residents as well? Or do people have to join or get a membership to belong? How do you envision folks?
This
utilizing?
is an open. It's part of the Bishop Park project or Bishop Park overall. That's free for all community members. There's no, to my knowledge, there's no intent to be able to make someone join, be able to access specifically the splash pad, but also the entire Bishop Park. So no.
The word gets out, you don't have to pay to go here like you do to Hershey Park. What do you do?
Yeah, you can just. I mean, it's really when the splash pad would open, be available to run. I mean, it's not one of those lifeguard needed items.
Yeah.
So it could be open at any point. They will have township staff that are available to manage a concession stand. But other than that, it's not going to be something that's going to be watched on, checked for their resident ID. It's going to be something that is available for everyone.
I think that's a good question because this is not that far from what the swim club was.
Right.
That was available to that community or in that area that closed years ago.
Yeah, the pool, I believe the pool behind the municipal building. is that
Yes.
where- Yes. So, yeah, so the township does actually own that, that's what now that's intended. Other part of the other project with the municipal complex that they're, renovating. So this is kind of that draw, this is kind of, the township really, when the preliminary plans have come out, for the township, for what Bishop Park, wanted to be, or what the initial vision was, the township, the Commissioner Steele specifically really wanted to have this splash pad, as, an amenity for the, I talk about, the residents of Swatera because of the other tie-ins to the other projects, but it is intended to be a regional law, something that's available to all.
It will obviously be staffed appropriately then. I mean, I know you won't have people looking for membership or anything like that, but what kind of staffing requirements would there be from a project of this magnitude if you're gonna have that many people? Obviously, you've got to have some kind of a safety net built in.
Yeah, so the township does have a Parks and Rec staff that goes and manages the day-to-day of all the parks around the township. I'm not sure exactly how they intend to do those nuances of, monitoring everything. But there is a concession stand that will have staff available as well. But there are township, kind of maintenance workers that will be maintaining, keeping up, the kind of the cost estimate that you, that's on slide, does have a lot of the investments in terms of, the, I want to say the maintenance of the splash pad itself. It's not, the township is making this large investment in that they want to make sure it is not, maintains operations, maintains its efficiency, for the foreseeable future. So there's no cost, so it's not something that gets kind of out rather quickly. So there's going to be staff that's constantly moving throughout the park and the broader parks, in the township, but for the day-to-day maintenance, I would defer to the parks and Recs.
Anything else? That's all I have.
Mr. Chair, you answered one of my questions. I was going to ask if there was a Parks and Rec department or director, but also you brought up the significant request amount, $500,000. What other funding sources has the township sought for this project?
So again, there's phase one and phase two, so I'm gonna go kind of holistically talk
Okay.
about everything. So the township for phase one has received CNR funding, as well as Dauphin County FEMA grant funding, 2 awards for the past 3-4 years for that. But as we talk about phase two, we are beginning to seek additional funding, to be able to complete the entire phase two. And phase two is, including the splash pad, is anticipated to be approximately $4 million in funding, as total cost. The township does have a municipal bond that they will be employing for any additional match. But also they will be seeking additional funding with the state or rather than the township decides. But the intent is to complete the project, worst case, using township funds.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Take care. You too.
One of the projects going on.
A lot of projects.
Maybe, were you able to picture where the park is? I would say like right down the hill from the right down the hill from the other business.
Halifax.
Towards Overland.
Yeah. I think you explained it, I was able to.
behind Gilly.
Yeah.
Just you, never brings notes. Halifax Township, 30 minutes. And welcome, if you don't mind introducing yourself and tell us about your project.
So my name is Jeff Enders. I'm actually the mayor for the borough of Halifax, not to be confused with Halifax Township, but I'm here representing Halifax Township as well. This was a combination project that Halifax Township, Halifax Borough, and Reed Township all conspired on. We had a window of opportunity to create a wash bay, which has been a struggle for us for the last 50 years. Actually, that's a lie, because we really haven't been using salt except for the last 30. So the last 30 years, our trucks are getting eaten up by salt every year. We recognized this problem. We had nowhere to wash. So the township had some space. We jumped on board, and the three of us jumped on board to commingle funds to make a wash bay. Wash bay is a really nice space, so we can go in there and wash our equipment. We already, Reed Township is like the silent partner because they have no equipment. We provide the services to them. So we're already utilizing the regional aspect of this. And we had the building done. The ask, which is 176, is actually under what our final costs are going to be. But the 176 will get us there on a full debt reduction that we can keep on rolling with the project and continue to do and purchase more modern wash bay equipment, for the undercarriages and the whatnots that we did early proceed. That's really it. That's the purpose of the debt reduction, is for the building cost itself to construct the building the way it sits. The building is completed. It's done. It's up. There's moderate wash equipment in it,
Right.
not what
Right.
one would consider a true truck wash bay yet. But other than that, we don't need to ask for the world on this one. We're looking to have the full thing fully funded. It's something that's greatly going to benefit that little region of our area, but it is more a regional project than it is a single municipal project.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Any questions? Go ahead.
Are the other municipalities contributing financially to the project?
Yes, and they did provide support letters, which should be included in that.
The funding support?
The funding, post-game, yes. Right now, it's all sitting on the Halifax Township. That's who financed the building itself. The building's sitting there, it is Halifax Township. That's who paid for that. The other expenses, which we're going into, are shared, such as the spray thingies and all that undercarriage.
So they're gonna help build it out now.
They build it out. The town, it is built
The
out.
builders, but the other municipalities gonna help build.
Build it out,
Quick,
yes, yes,
build it out,
yes,
yeah.
yes. We'll be the interior design team.
Right, understood.
It sounds good.
Smitty?
We're good.
I'm fine.
Hope that's the next person's here though. So, yeah. Wish I had more. Wish Scott could have been here. Intended to be, but Scott.
Good.
Good.
Just there.
We did ask Gary Township to contribute, but they didn't.
It's probably not the right thing to say right now.
It's off the record.
I don't think somebody.
Are we still live?
We are.
It's okay. I can find some Facebook too.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thanks, guys.
Have a good day.
See ya.
Thank you.